Hello BookTube. Continuing on with my library tour, I'm going to show you my writing books. This is Wonder Book by Jeff Vandermeer. I love that this is great. It's wonderfully illustrated, filled with very useful advice, a little difficult to follow along with. It's a little difficult and maybe geared a bit more towards writers who are drawn to Vandermeer's style and genre. But very good, and I'm going to reread it again for Nonfiction November. Fantasy Fiction Formula by Deborah Chester. This has a wonderful character creation sheet, and the plotting chapters are great too. I'm looking forward to reading Chester's own fiction to see exactly how she implements some of, particularly her plotting arguments. The Guide to Writing Fantasy and Science Fiction by Philip Athens. This is a phenomenal book. This is everything you need if you want to write science fiction and fantasy. It has writing advice, it has world building advice, it has some publishing advice. Everything you need. Athens also has a blog, which, if I remember, I will link it down below. On world building and on writing and world building, Volume 1 by Timothy Hickson. Timothy Hickson is on YouTube as Hello Future Me, and the chapters in this book are from his on writing and world building videos. The chapters on writing are really good. The video chapters on world building are interesting. They show I think present other ways of looking at world building subjects, but I think the book feels unfinished. Like maybe he should have written a writing book and then a world building book separate, so that it's not like this weird meshing where certain subjects are there and certain subjects aren't, and it's a bit uneven. Another book I got from people on BookTube is The Essential Guide to Getting Your Book Published by Ariel Eckstedt and David Henry Sterry. They are on BookTube or on YouTube as The Book Doctors, and their channel has a lot of advice for writers. And I picked up this book to see how, further writing information, and I haven't read it yet, so I might read this in November, or I might wait later. Crafting novels and short stories from the editors of Writer's Digest. The Anatomy of Story by John Truby. Again, a book I'm really looking forward to reading. Creating Character Arcs by K.M. Whalen. I read Writer's Digest had a book on character creation, on characters. And I interlibrary loaned it, and I went and ordered certain books from certain of the essays. Like I bought the writers of those essays' own books. I want to say Kim Wayland was one of those. Looking forward to reading that. One I definitely know I got from the Writer's Digest book on characters is Dynamic Characters by Nancy Kress. This is phenomenal. A little dated in its character sheet, but really, really good. This came from Alibris, and it was part of the Newton County Library System. Another book on creating characters is Breathing Life into Your Characters by Rachel Dallin. Sorry about that. The tablet has been doing that all day. Particularly, I think, as the books kind of want to tip over on the shelf here on my desk, it kind of wobbles the desk and the tablet wants to fall over. Has been plaguing me all day. Also by Nancy Kress is Beginnings, Middles, and Ends. Finally, and moving away a bit from prose fiction, is The Ultimate Guide to Video Game Writing and Design by Flint Dill and John Zerplatten. Interlibrary loaned this a few years ago and really liked it. There's a character creation sheet and a organization creation sheet in this book that are really, really good. And on the whole, this book is really, really good, especially if you do want to try your hand at video game writing and design. Moving on. I have 4 books in the Art of series. The Art of Intimacy by Stacey D'Erasmo. The Art of Description by Mark Doughty. This is really good. The Art of Perspective by Christopher Castellani. And The Art of Subtext by Charles Baxter. This is really good too. I need to read the Erasmo and Castellani ones. I have The Elements of Style. Everything You Need to Know to Write by William Strunk. I want to say one of the writing books I got checked out from the library mentioned this book, and I went and got it. I don't think it cost that much. Thin little thing. And finally, The Little Brown Essential Handbook for Writers by Jane E. Aaron. I got this my first semester of university. This was one of my textbooks. For the, when I was an undergraduate, one of the first classes you take, I went to St. Edward's University in Austin. And as part of their kind of freshman freshman introduction to college, they basically have a lecture course, a themed lecture course that is paired with a series of composition classes. And I took War, and I took Advanced, the second composition class, because I got to write about, it was not one of those kind of annoying contemporary issue essays, which I can't stand. It was more of a write about a war. And finally, and I'm not entirely sure why this is in the writing section, is The Art of Language Invention by David J. Peterson. I got this book because, again, as a fantasy reader and as a writer who wants to write fantasy, you kind of have to think about language creation and names and all of that. And I was thinking this would help pretty much how to do that. And while there are some bits of it, it's more for the conlanger, the people who create artificial languages or created languages as a hobby, more so than, say, as a writer would. But anyway, that wraps up the writing and art shelf on my computer. So I will now put these onto the wall shelf and move the new books and my TBR onto these shelves. Thank you, BookTube.